Chapter 15, Pursuit. Well, the ante certainly has been increased, hasn't it? The next day. Saturday morning, November 19th. Today, months after finally being released from the hospital myself, I've returned to a scene of unrelenting despair. It may be a different room in a different hospital with different staff, but for all the differences I can observe, one thing remains the same: the unmistakable stench of death. After all, even more so than my line of work, this is a field which centers around death. The sick, the elderly, those who have been severely injured. Many of the people who are carried in here never leave again. I really shouldn't be unsettled by that fact. After all, though I may be relatively new, I suppose I am a killer. But in this case, it can't be helped. No matter how well adjusted you are, things change completely when the patient, when the victim, is somebody close to you. Having lost my parents during my own recent stay in the hospital, I was obviously in no hurry to return, be it as a patient or a guest. Moreover, with Sarah being the one incapacitated, my fears were obvious. After losing my parents the last time I was here, I couldn't stand the thought of losing my sister too. But this time around, I have nothing to fear. After all, Sarah is already dead. By the time I had reached Sarah's side, she was already gone. Her breathing was non-existent, her spilled blood had started to cool, and there was no chance of survival. Even then, I frantically called an ambulance. I screamed at the person on the other end of the phone, begging them to save my sister. But when the paramedics showed up, they knew immediately that there was nothing they could do. She had been cut down hours prior, murdered at a time when I would usually have been home to protect her. While I was out with Misa, wasting away the hours and enjoying myself, I never thought for a second that I was putting Sarah in any danger. I thought she might be mad, sure, or that she'd resent me going out without her, but this... Every day I flirt with death, killing random strangers, protecting my own neck. I'd even go so far as to say that I've become comfortable with death. But now that Sarah's the one laying in front of me, lifeless, cold, not breathing, I wish it was you. I wouldn't go as far to say that I have a death wish, but yes, that's exactly right. I'm the one who's been putting himself at risk. I'm the one who's been killing people for money. I'm the one who invited violence and deceit into our house. So why should Sarah have to die? Why aren't I the one being punished? Every step of the way I've done terrible things. Every day I kill people without remorse. I'm the one who should be dead, not her. And yet you're alive. Indeed I am. My parents are dead. Sarah's dead. My coworkers are dying. But I'm still here. Despite the danger I've been facing, the constant risk of death, I'm alive. And because I'm alive, I can still make them pay. Whoever did this to my sister, they're obviously affiliated with Adder, and going by their message, they want me to abandon my mission. But by targeting my sister instead of me, they've made a big mistake. Until now, Sarah has been the only voice of reason in my life. She was the only one holding me back, giving me a place to come back to. So without Sarah by my side, all I have is my job. I'll find whoever did this to my sister, no matter what it takes. I'll rob Adder blind. I'll help cars who destroy their business, and I'll do everything in my power to annihilate them. And when I find the person directly responsible for Sarah's death, the one who took her life with their own two hands, I'll eviscerate them. I'll cut them open like a trout, rip out their intestines, and dump their mangled corpse out in the open. suffering. Oh. Misa? As my thoughts began to rapidly deteriorate, the one to break my internal struggle was Misa, the girl who'd been right beside me when my sister's body was found. She traveled with me to the hospital, stayed up all night beside me as I waited for my sister's body to be released, and even now refused to leave me alone. Misa. What am I even doing here? Getting myself riled up and lost in dreams of vengeance won't help me, nor will losing myself to grief. Even if I'm not ready to mourn my sister, once this is all over, I'll have all the time in the world to do so. For the time being, I need to focus on living. I'm sorry, Misa. I was losing myself for a second there. I didn't mean to worry you. I really am a bastard. I was so caught up on what I'd lost that I didn't even take into account what I still had. And Sarah wasn't the only person in my life. Not anymore. Misa, this kind, caring, considerate girl. She's been right beside me this entire time, and I just took her presence for granted. But not anymore. I'm not going to let Sarah's fate befall Misa too, nor am I going to leave her alone. I'll learn from the mistakes I made while Sarah was still alive, and make sure never to repeat them. Four days later. Wednesday morning, November 23rd. It's been less than 1 week now since my sister left this house, and her presence has been sorely missed. Aside from the obvious emotional torment of losing Sarah, there's been an unforeseen physical aspect to her absence as well. And I don't just mean the fact that she isn't here. Without Sarah around, many of the things I've taken for granted have come to light, revealing just how hard she worked while I was killing my way to a paycheck. Dishes piling up, clothes and towels not getting washed, meals being skipped, dust accumulating. Or at least that would have been the case if not for my fellow loner. So silver lining achievement unlocked. Good morning, Misa. Busy making another glorious meal to start the day? Although she might not be as skilled as Sarah, Misa knows her way around the kitchen, and her attention to details kept the house in order despite Sarah's absence. In fact, I have little doubt that it's due to Misa's typically solitary lifestyle that she's fit the role so well. For a girl like Misa, always on her own, it's only natural that she develop these skills. Whatever the reason, if Misa weren't here to babysit me and to see me through this, I don't know what I'd do. It's not as though I can't get through the day without Sarah. As hopeless as I might be, I'm not so dependent on others that I can't live on my own. But in this period, without any work, anxiously waiting for a rapidly approaching deadline, Misa's presence has helped me more than I'd ever admit. In fact, as long as Misa's here, My thoughts are interrupted by the vibration in my pocket. I fished out my phone to check on the reason behind the disturbance. I opened the text messaging application and found a single message from Sai, addressed to both Misa and myself. Misa, Zuo, meet us at the usual place. Come prepared to work. Wow. Sai really doesn't mince words, short and straight to the point, just like Sai himself. So is Sai really that short, I wonder? You never really get to see them saying up and like next to each other for a frame of reference or anything. I briefly stopped in my bedroom to grab my weapon, work clothes, and money for travel. While I was there, I grabbed the same from Misa, who was quick to make herself at home upon moving in with me. Misa, message from Sai, time to go. Bad timing, I know. He could have at least waited until we finished breakfast. Come on, you can finish cooking later. Just make some toast and get changed. Guess not, huh? Well, it's not like you said we needed to go right this instant. We'll leave after breakfast, okay? Wow, he is such a pushover. After waiting for Misa to finish making breakfast, the two of us ate together slowly, expressing no urgency in our actions. We double-checked that I grabbed everything, washed our hands, and cleaned the dishes, and did everything we'd think of to make sure that things were in order. Finally content with ourselves, we then walked to the bus stop, waited for a bus, and rode until our stop. Took you long enough. I contacted you over an hour ago. I knew Sai would be mad. Oh well, serves him right for not giving us a deadline. Well, you could have given us a bit of warning. Misa and I were right in the middle of... Oh ho ho! Pray tell what that insensitive nuisance Sai interrupted. A morning romp, perhaps? A fight over the bedsheets? Or maybe the two of you were about to strip down and... Enough already. Must you do this every freaking time? We're trying to work. Just get out of here. Hey, but this is my office. Although we don't have the kind of relationship Karsu implied, Misa and I have been pretty close lately. Sai would snap in a heartbeat if he knew that we'd been sharing a bed or that Misa's been playing housewife. So, now the distraction is gone, what were the two of you doing? And of course, Karsu's words got to him after all. Sai asked the same question during our Sunday meeting and again amid training on Monday and Tuesday night. Misa was in the middle of making breakfast, that's it. Oh, I see. That makes sense. Of course you'd be eating breakfast at this time of the morning. For crying out loud, Sai. Anyway, now that we've gotten that out of the way, Suo, I've called you and Misa here for this morning for an urgent assignment. We've finally gotten a fix on Leon and the others, or on their phones at least. I'll be going after Leon and Kane, so I want the two of you to track down Violet and Victor. Track them down? If they disappear for this long without word, then... How do we know that those four really are the ones you've traced? Could someone have just taken their phones after killing them? I was getting to that. At this point in time, we're working under the assumption that one of two scenarios is playing out. First, those four have gone rogue. They purposely moved out of the city to avoid detection and have now returned. Second, they were all killed and their phones were taken from them. In that case, we can assume they were being lured away from base. Either way, the simultaneous disappearances and re-emergence mean that this is likely a trap, so you'll need to be on your guard. Normally, we'd scout the locations out first, then gradually move in, but with the timing and our resources being what they are. So our vacation is being cut short in favor of recon work, huh? I should have known. The next day. Thursday morning, November 24th. Following yesterday's conversation with Sai, Misa and I received the coordinates of our targets and began moving out. We traveled most of the day, swapping between numerous buses and trains while eating on the run, and eventually, we closed in on the districts in which our targets would allegedly reside. We took the time to go shopping very briefly, buying clothes and food to last us the night, then headed to our hotel room, which Karsu arranged ahead of our arrival. I know Sai said this was a possibility for me, but I never thought I really would be staying in a place like this while on the job. His drifter lifestyle might not be so bad after all, if he could still live like this every day. Heck, I slept better last night than I have in months. Rather than sharing a single bed with my sister, I got an entire double bed to myself. I could really get used to this. Shortly after we arrived at the hotel, Misa and I went to bed, leaving aside fantasies of room service and watching TV in bed for another time. We took a double bed each rather than share one like we had been at my place, and drifted off into a well-earned slumber. Now, awake and refreshed after a good night's sleep, Misa and I are ready to... Misa, how on earth can you be tired? You usually wake up far earlier than I do. Honestly, I've already showered and everything. Since when has Misa been such a sloth? Although we haven't been cohabitating long, Misa has woken up before me every day until now. This morning, however, I woke up at least an hour before Misa. I was only able to get up after forcibly removing her from my side, at which which point she reluctantly got out of bed. At what point in the night she crept into my bed, I have no idea. Yeah, you said that already. Come on, let's get moving. We'll find somewhere to eat breakfast and then... Misa. Well, I guess it wouldn't kill us to wait until after Misa showers. At last, hastening our lethargic morning, Misa and I hit the town. We ate breakfast together at a local cafe, wandered around aimlessly for a while, and then finally began our search. Fortunately, our search was not a lengthy one. We simply followed the coordinates on Misa's phone until we reached a street a mere 20 minutes away from the hotel, supposedly playing host to one of our targets. As we encroached upon the beacon, however, we found nothing. No corpses awaiting us, no friendly faces, no trap ready to be sprung. Not a damn thing. Nothing here, huh? Maybe the coordinates have changed since I sent them to us. I understand why we should be able to track one another, but day-old coordinates are a bit... When I looked over at her, Misa was waiting by an alley, gesturing for me to look inside. In the alley? That was quick. What could she have... Well, no. If I didn't know any better, I'd say Misa just found one of our old comrades. Sparing a moment to check on Misa's discovery, within the alley I found the corpse of our departed friend Vincent. But what set Misa off was not the fact that the victim was someone she once knew, and it certainly wasn't the sight of a corpse. Rather, what disgusted Misa to the point of puking was the smell. I have a fairly strong stomach nowadays, at least when my sickness isn't acting up, but that made even me want to puke. Given how long he's been missing, Vincent could have been there for a couple of weeks, just decomposing and turning away anybody who came near the alley. Further than that, Vincent's head was caved in, no doubt serving as the cause of his death. All in all, it's a rather disgusting way for anybody to wind up, let alone a pretty boy like Vincent. With Vincent's identity and death both confirmed, I followed after Misa, who I found puking nearby. Misa, are you feeling okay? We could head back to the hotel before going any further if you need a break. Okay, but don't push yourself. If you need to rest, I won't say anything. No rest for the wicked, huh? Fine by me. We've only been here one night, and we're already halfway done with our task. As long as we find Violet promptly, we should be able to return home as soon as tomorrow. Ah, Sai, there you are. You've been in and out here all morning. What's going on? Don't be like that. You know how lousy reception is down here. When are you going to install more repeaters? It's a mesh network for crying out loud. It shouldn't matter how far underground we are. Listen to Sai the techie. Are you sure you would rather join my IT department? Corpse disposal is so beneath you. So it's serious, is it? I take it that you were speaking to the kids. Yes, I've been in contact with them all morning. Vincent's body has been discovered and Violet is on the move. Vincent's body, huh? How did he die? That's the part I'm worried about. As you know, I've been attempting to track down Leon and Kane. As soon as I set out after them, however, they went on the move, almost as if they had a trace on my location. So I continued to follow their coordinates, and surely enough, Vincent was found with his head caved in. Precisely. This is serious indeed. As long as they're prepared, Misa and Suno should have no trouble disposing of one of the remaining three. But all of them at once? Yes, I know, this is quite an undesirable situation. So you agree that we should bring those two back here? Not exactly. Oh, so you're going to meet up with those two, and together the three of you will... I'd never make it in time. Then, what do you... You know exactly what I'm going to do. You can't be serious. You're going to push them both out of the nest, now, of all times? This is serious, Sai. Even if those two know what to expect, they still... You did tell them, didn't you? How I raised my daughter is none of your concern. So, before I continue this, I want to go off on a little bit of a tangent. I don't think I talked about the hitmen even in the descriptions just yet. For the most part, I believe they're all supposed to be references to hitmen from different forms of media. Leon being from Leon the Professional, which is I believe it started out as a book that was turned into a movie. That was where Natalie Portman made her debut, I believe. Kane, I believe, is a reference to Agent 47 of Hitman. And I'm not entirely sure about Violet and Vincent offhand. But with those two, I'm thinking there may be some sort of underlying link between them. So unfortunately, despite what I've said about how to kind of badly maim, mangle, or murder someone in previous videos, I'm not actually too familiar with the media surrounding all this. So maybe that's something you guys can enlighten me on if you happen to know the reference between Vincent and Violet. It's entirely possible you may see Violets as we go yet, so we'll see. After wandering around a while longer, trying to hunt down our other target, Misa and I decided it was time to take a break. I bought some sweets at a corner shop, hoping to remove the taste of vomit from Misa's mouth, then ordered some takeaway for the two of us to eat in our hotel room. Upon returning to our room, Misa began heating up the takeaway, and I took the opportunity to phone Sai. I reported to him what we had found. In return, I received updated coordinates for our other target. Unfortunately, the information he had for me was nothing positive. Unlike Vincent, who was obviously immobile, Violet made no effort to stay still. Violet, or at least the person with her phone in hand, had been moving around since daybreak, and showed no sign of stopping. So as Misa and I sat down for lunch, trying to enjoy our break, I knew the rest of our assignment wouldn't be so simple. Following a quick lunch, Misa and I headed directly to the newest set of coordinates over to us by Sai. Without taking any detours, we assumed the shortest path possible, arriving at the detailed location as quickly as possible. By the time we had arrived, however, our target was long gone, and our coordinates had changed to a location impossible to reach in such a short amount of time. Nonetheless, I followed Sai's updated coordinates and homed in on the new location. Once again, Misa and I reached our target's location, prepped and ready to face them. However, just like before, what awaited us was an empty street with no sign of human life. This is ridiculous. No matter how quickly we arrive, Violet's one step ahead of us, preemptively fleeing at an inhuman speed. Is she on a motorbike? A moped, perhaps? I haven't heard the sound of an engine at all, but a vehicle would explain how she's been able to evade us so quickly. This is going nowhere. Any ideas, Misa? What a pain. Every time I move, our target gets further away. Well, at least now I'll get some time away from Misa. As I spoke to myself out loud, Misa and I grew further and further apart. We split nearly 15 minutes prior and received no further contact from Sai since then. Man, this is such a stupid assignment. I really do hate this job. And why am I paired up with a kid like her anyway? Perhaps we're not so different after all. It's about time you took control of your own life, don't you think? While I rambled to myself, Violet appeared before me, silently emerging from the shadows. She had concealed herself in an alleyway, hidden away behind the closed doors of an uninhabited home. Violet, but how are you? Standing in front of you? I've been watching you this entire time, waiting for you to separate from that brat. She's been watching me? How is that possible? The coordinates Sai sent me. The coordinates Sai sent me were fake. Completely false. Honestly, by this point, you and those Japs are the only ones who don't know how to falsify your locations. No wonder we were unable to catch her. Still, for Violet to give us the coordinates so close to her real location, and then call me out like this. Anyway, we don't have much time, so I'm going to make this quick. I have a proposal for you. A proposal. That's right, a new avenue of income, without all of the idiocy stemming from Karazu's influence. Interested? Interested. When money is concerned, I'm always interested. More money than I'd make working for Karazu. Much more. After we take out that idiot and steal his business, we'll run a much smoother, more lucrative information than he ever did. So that's what she's after. How long have you been planning this? I'm not going to ditch my job for a half-baked scheme you cooked up last night. But you aren't against the idea, are you? The truth is, this was all Leon's idea, and he's been planning this for a long time. Damn. I may not be especially bright, but even I can see where this is heading. So he's been recruiting Karsu's own men, then killing or disappearing anyone who refuses to join. You guessed it. To be honest, he really didn't want you to join us. But with Vincent having a change of heart, we're a little low on numbers and time is of the essence. I see. Anyway, enough of that. I realize I've left out most of the details, but I couldn't expect you to join us without knowing at least part of the truth. So what do you say? Shall we continue this conversation at length somewhere a bit more private? Violet smirked at me seductively, as though she already knew the answer. She offered me money, the one motivation I had working under Karsu, and plenty of it. She offered me freedom from my obligations to Karsu, a way out of this double life. Anyone in my situation would agree without hesitation. Yeah, okay. You won't regret this. Things will be difficult at first, but then... Come on out, Misa. Huh? Without making a sound as she approached, Misa kicked out one of Violet's knees from behind, lowering her to a more accessible height. Violet fell to her knees. The second she went to retaliate, she found Misa's blade resting on her throat. What the hell was this? With the tables being turned, Violet grew panicked and angry. She knew who was behind her and wanted dearly to fight back. With the blade of the professional killer at her throat, she wouldn't dare. Exactly what it looks like, traitor. Misa realized that the coordinates we were being sent. You fucking bitch, you weren't supposed to be here. Go back to your papa's tea, little girl. The second I mentioned Misa's name, Violet lashed out, uninterested in anything else I had to say. Violet struggled to escape Misa's grasp, and continued to berate Misa as she did, despite her current predicament. In turn, Misa pressed her blade harder while stepping on Violet's calf, making her as uncomfortable as possible. Sorry to disappoint, Violet, but Misa isn't going anywhere. In fact, she's been with me this whole time. Really now, we're hunting down professional killers. What kind of idiot would separate from their partner at a time like this? So that's your choice, huh? Well done, you little skink. At long last, you've got a man to protect you. And that means you've finally sunk to my level. Not so high and mighty now, are you? You pathetic, flat-chested virgin. Honestly, what a miserable little... Without a moment's hesitation or regret, Misa ended Violet's monologue before she could spew forth another hurtful line. Violet tried to speak, but doing so only caused more blood to flow from her exposed throat, quickly draining the color from her face. Panic spread across Violet's face, and she desperately tried to grab the knife at her throat. But Misa had already begun to cut into her, and showed no sign of displaying any mercy. Unlike in our previous hunts, Misa didn't seem bothered in the least by her blade display. In fact, if anything, she looked happy. Given the brief exchange from moments ago, I figured that Misa and Violet were never on good terms. But even then, seeing such a sudden change in Misa's personality was a shock. Is this what Misa is usually like when she's on the job? She seemed hesitant and unenthusiastic when we went out previously, and her run-in with Mrs. Mendez unsettled her. Looking at her right now, I'm not so sure if that was the real Misa, or this is. Before long, the light had left Violet's eyes, and she had only grown weakly. Misa had cut her victim deep, in a location sure to kill. She knew how to end Violet's life without delay or risk of failure. Faced with the fatal amount of blood loss, Violet's head hung lifeless, supported only by Misa's hand at the back of her head. Apart from a few gurgling sounds of exasperated gasps, Violet was completely silent. Rather than allow the corpse in her hand fall to the ground, Misa continued to hold Violet where she was, dragging her blade deep started there. With our mission already complete, Misa and I returned to our hotel room. We had successfully retrieved the phones of Vincent and Violet and confirmed both of their deaths, so we had no reason to linger any longer. Further to that, I relayed the information we gleaned from Violet to Karasu, who seemed to feel betrayed, but not particularly surprised. So, with the day already behind us, and tomorrow signaling another long trip, Misa and I stayed one more night in our hotel room. Upon returning to our hotel room, Misa immediately headed for the shower. Although she had rid herself of most of Violet's blood before leaving the scene of the crime, she still needed to change clothes, and no doubt take a moment to herself to think. Feeling better now? Showing no sign of her earlier bloodlust or malice, Misa smiled happily as I approached her. If anything, she seemed more carefree than usual, as though a great weight had been lifted as she sliced into Violet's neck. That's good. I know you're not fond of unnecessary violence, but I couldn't see that scenario ending any other way. Though it would have been nice to question Violet a little more before silencing her. So, is there anything else you want to do before we head back tomorrow? We'll be traveling for most of the day, so if there's anything you want to do or buy, tomorrow morning will be your chance. Oh, that's odd. I figured Misa would want to play around as long as possible since it's just the two of us. Maybe Misa misses home more than I thought. And by home, I of course mean my home. In that case, I guess I'll just take a shower and go to bed. And don't steal my bed this time, alright? Really, she has no idea how surprised I was to wake up with Misa next to me. At my house, it's understandable to a degree since there's only the one bed. But here, she has no excuse. Is Misa taking the remarks seriously? Wait, she's thinking about what Violet said, is she? Don't take that too seriously. I was only joking. Really, I didn't mean anything by it. I was starting to think that was the chapter break, but 3 days later, Sunday night, November 27th. With our work for the week having finished on Thursday and travel eating away the entire day, Friday, Misa and I were granted only a brief, or the entire day Friday, Misa and I were granted only a brief reprieve before work began anew. Daily training? But isn't that what we do already? How is what you're proposing any different? Although yesterday and today both proved to be peaceful and restful days, that period of bliss was short-lived. When Misa and I reported in for our usual Sunday night meeting, Sai quickly crushed our hopes of ongoing peace. I was getting to that, if you let me. In light of recent events, we decided to move up the operation date. Unfortunately, you're not yet up to scratch. You may be a decent killer, but you're no master of espionage. No kidding. The last time I checked, my job was to silence people, not to steal their work. Perhaps I'd better take over before someone's feelings get hurt. What Sai is trying to say, we may have moved up the date, but the difficulty of the mission has not decreased. With recent complications being what they are, Sai and I agreed it would be better to finish this as soon as possible, rather than to wait for an opportunity that might not come. It will be more difficult and more dangerous than we had hoped, but the likelihood of failure will also decrease significantly. Wait, it'll be more difficult, yet will be less likely to fail? I don't understand. Of course you don't. That's because Karasu's explanations are useless. Look, forget about everything Karasu said, and I don't just mean in the last 10 seconds. As far as you are concerned, nothing has changed. You'll still just follow my instructions. Do that, and everything will be fine. Sure. That probably would be for the best. I couldn't make any sense whatsoever of the blueprints I was given, and I have no experience with any of this. Single-mindedly following Sai's instructions is about all I really can do. So with that in mind, we're back to the subject of training. From now on, our training together will be a little different. Rather than learning combat skills, the focus will be on stealth and observation. Stealth and observation, huh? We probably should have done that in the first place rather than simply fighting one another. I may be relatively new to this line of work, but thus far I've relied on stealth far more than my ability to fight. Alright then. Monday through Thursday nights, same as usual? Hardly. Weren't you listening? We're on a deadline here. There will be no time for breaks. You'll be training day and night from here on out. After receiving a stern warning about how underprepared we were, paired with conflicting talk of how we had nothing to worry about, Misa and I finally left Karazu's office and headed home. My sentiment exactly. Here I thought I was getting a vacation, some time to just sit around, not worrying about a damn thing. Instead, ever since the promise of a vacation, I've done nothing but travel and work. And now, every day of freedom I have left is being taken away from me. The only upside to all of this has been getting to spend more time with Misa, and even that is only because Sarah. At any rate, as nice as this has been, it doesn't look like we'll get much time to ourselves going forward. Training all day and night for a week straight is going to take its toll, both physically and mentally. At the end of each day, chances are Misa and I will just go straight to bed. Not that I really have an issue with that. I was a little hesitant on the first night, but Misa and I really are just sleeping beside one another. It's no different than how Sarah... Get a grip, me. Stop thinking about that. I don't have the time to be depressed. I need to focus on my training. Besides, if a week of training is what it takes to keep me alive, and find my sister's killer, then... Stop it. Stop thinking about Sarah, damn it. I don't have time to be distracted by that. I can grieve when this is all over and done with. For the time being, I just... You what? Not this again. Yes, this again. What? Did you think I'd just gone away forever, leaving without a word? That would be nice. Why don't you? You know that won't happen. My voice ringing in your ears. Sarah's death hanging over your head. Sai sending you off to get killed. There's only one way this can all end. You should just kill yourself. Huh? What just... How embarrassing. Misa must think I'm crazy, talking to myself in a mirror like that. Really, just what the hell was I thinking? Thanks, Misa. I guess I zoned out for a minute there. Sorry for worrying you. I can't believe I let this happen again. Just how many times is this girl going to save me from myself? And even before Misa, a professional killer, started to watch over me, it was Sarah keeping me in line, grounding me in reality. Every time I'm left on my own, my sickness gets worse, and I begin to lose sight of myself. Once this adder business really is over and done with, I'm going to need some serious therapy.